Scott, after 5 years as chairman, you've recently made the decision to step down at the end of this 23-24 season. Just give us a bit of a background into the reasons why.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Well, first and foremost, when you take on something such as chairman of a community-based owned club, you have to think about timelines. And I did come in with a vision and then set a business plan against that vision, which was a 5-year plan. And that sort of 5 years is coming to an end. Questions I've asked myself is, how has that 5 years plan been achieved? And although I'd love to have finished further up the table, a little bit further up the table last year, and this year we're very positive about where we can get in the performance of the first team. Everything that I sort of came in and set myself and set the club with that vision and plan has been achieved. We've achieved it. So there is that, but probably the biggest driver is my work situation outside of being chairman of the football club will change quite significantly early next year. So you won't be able to commit the time to the football club that I have done, and I need a clear head and a clear diary really in terms of what my work's going to look like, because it's probably going to involve a fair bit of travel and so forth. So those are the main reasons, with a bit of a heavy heart, but I'm really proud of what myself and the volunteers and the other board members that I've worked with have achieved over the last 5 years. Yeah,
I mean, looking at it, you come in the summer of 2019. You're overseeing some tough times, obviously, with the pandemic and everything like that. On and off the pitch, are you pleased with how the 5 years have gone?
Yeah, I'm really proud of what the whole group down here that I've worked with have done, and it's been a massive team effort. It's not the chairman is one position, but that in a community club, the volunteers is important as a chairman sometimes to actually keep the club moving forward. And that's probably the biggest thing, is how far forward we've come from where the club was 5 years ago. The development pathway that we've implemented with our under-18s and under-23s has been outstanding. Massive thanks to Brian Churchill, Craig Robinson, John Cook and a few others and all the first team managers as well, who really bought into that, because it's so important that a football club at this level has that. And what those teams have achieved over the last 2-3 seasons has been nothing short of a miracle. In terms of the treble, 2 trebles last year, it was just fantastic. So that's been really keen, and then those players and those local players who've come through that and then been given the opportunity to play and experience Southern League football. Again, as a football club, and I've been watching this football club for many, many years, it's so rare, it has been in the past, so rare for local lads to actually get onto that pitch, and I think we've done that, which again is just enhanced the whole point of the football club as a community-owned club. So I'm really, really pleased with that. And 5 years ago, I think the SAG were just about ready to shut us down. We had so many renovations that needed doing. I think it was coming up to 30 years the stadium had been open. I don't really think there's been a few renovations, but hardly a paintbrush had been picked up in those 30 years. So the whole sort of stadium infrastructure was in desperate need of renovation. So, the new seats, the renovation of certain areas around the ground, and all of those things that are now in a really good place. And I think it's a very different place when you come down now to experience and watch a football match. And I think our average crowds last year were well up, and we're seeing a lot more children down here and a lot more local people coming down. So that's been fantastic, because that was again one of the key pillars of the plan really. The first team, which is a massive part of having a football club at this level. I think like I said previously, I'd have loved to have been a bit higher last year, but Glenn and Woodsy and Churchy and Dodge and everyone involved did a fantastic job last season. And I think just the culture, that's always been the challenge. Is you can change the personnel all you want, but if it's the same culture within that first team, you just don't get the results. And I think that's what that was what was achieved last season. And which again gave the whole club a different vibe, and now Tom's come in, and that's only going to enhance that now, and we can see that within the performances over the last sort of few games where we've been at home. We're really starting to get a feel that we can go toe to toe with anyone in this league. And then the finances, that's been, it was way back when I took over. Finance is always difficult at this, so you have to have a vision and a plan of how financially the club can work, and you've got to write that down, and you've got to explain that to people, and then you've got to live it and get people around you who can support you and deliver that. So and luckily Lee's been my vice chairman, Lee Loader, and the rest of the board. We all get that now. I think if you speak to members of the board who were here previously, board meetings are very different now as to what they were, 6 years ago. No detriment to previous people, but they're action orientated. They're focused on the really important things that need to get the football club, to keep going week on. So that's a very, I'm really pleased with how that is, because whoever comes in to take over from me, if they can see what needs to happen every week, and they can see how finances need to come in, and and what needs to be paid and what needs to go out, and it's clear. It gives them a good place to start, really. Yeah.
Good stuff. Obviously, the board of directors and the management team have known a little while about your decision, but you feel it was important to announce your decision now in November, ahead of the AGM next week and well in advance of the end of the season.
Yeah, I think first of all, we'll firstly deal with the AGM. It gives our members and people who attend the AGM a chance to have a think about any questions they may have, on this matter. Then going forward and over the remainder of the season, it gives us all time, and other people that may show an interest, that we got plenty of time to talk about, what goes on and what needs to be done, and all of those things that go with being a chairman of football. It gives other board members a chance to have a think about, they might know people that might want to stand up and say, yeah, I'll give it a crack. I think what's important as well, that is the right person. I think I underestimated, I'm a people manager within my day job, but I underestimated the sort of multifactorial management skills you have to be the chairman of a football club. It's dependent. It changes, because then some board members come on board and they've got a stronger skill set in certain things, and it's nice then because that can be delegated. But yeah, it's something that if people take on, it's a voluntary role. There is a good amount of time that you need to spend doing it. But again, all I would say is if somebody's run a successful business out there, and they're that's the sort of people you need, a good people manager, somebody who understands the ebb and flow of P&Ls and businesses and people. So it will give us a good amount of time to really sort of help anyone who's interested to bed in and see what it's like.
Brilliant, good stuff. And finally, obviously, you're not walking away totally from the football club. Depending on your job, you'll still be around and coming down on match days.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And the other thing is, I will still volunteer. What I have learned over the last 4 or 5 years is this place will not function without people who volunteer their time. So as much as I can give from a voluntary perspective, I still will. I'm not ruling out that I still wouldn't be involved, from a board level, but it wouldn't be as chairman. It would be in another capacity. So no, 100%. I'm not going anywhere you know, and I'll still be around the football club. I'll still probably be down on Saturday mornings cleaning leaves up before games and so forth. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever not be involved from a volunteer perspective. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for your time, Scott. Cheers.
Cheers, Sam.